Hi, this is Michael Passmore, Senior Minister at Central Christian Church in San Antonio, Texas. This is a Wednesday devotional, a thought that I had. I didn't want to go with the pleadings, which I continue to hold very high, of peace and patience as we go through a tumultuous election process with perhaps legal filings again in our lifetime. I instead just started thinking, I don't know what kind of inspiration it was, about that saying that came to us from Exodus, the 3rd chapter, when Moses was walking along tending sheep and saw the bush on fire. And he turned to see the burning bush. And the scripture tells us that when the Lord saw that Moses had turned toward the burning bush, he spoke to Moses out of the fire and said, "Moses, remove the sandals from your feet, for the place you are standing is holy ground." Moses complied, taking the shoes off his feet. It was an interesting phrase. I have to tell you that as far as my regular memory would have gone, that would have been the only time I know in Scripture where someone was told to remove the shoes from their feet because they were on holy ground. But that is not correct. Just a book or two later, in the book of Joshua, the 5th chapter, around the 15th verse, again, Joshua is walking along a road near Jericho, and there stood in his path a person with a sword drawn in his hand, and Joshua, himself a warrior, questions the guy and says, "Are you with us or against us? Are you an adversary or a friend? And who are you?" The guy with the sword spoke to Joshua, and he said, "I'm the commander of the armies of the Lord. Take the shoes off your feet, for the place you are standing is holy ground." Joshua complied, fell on his face, worshiped God in the presence of the angel, the man, the messenger. Have you ever been in a place where you sensed that there was holy ground? There are many instances in life when it could happen. The birth of a child, the glorious and peaceful passing of a loved one. Those times in life when the holy breaks into the present. I recall a day in 1994. I was a pastor in another city, and a guy I had become friends with through Bible study, a heart surgeon, Dr. Vincent Rittman Jr., had been diagnosed with a terrible form of brain cancer. Vince, in his dedication to medicine over his trying to buy a few more times during his illness, chose not to go all the way into his chemotherapy process. He decided he wanted his brain tumor to be biopsied and studied after his death as a way to perhaps help others in the future. He had asked me to come by his room that afternoon. I went. The door was ajar on the hospital wing, and when I looked in, Vince and his beautiful wife and 2 or 3 of their children, the little one with the legs straddled around his hip but in his arm, and all of them together in a circle, knowing that the end was coming down the railroad track like a freight train. And I didn't want to walk in immediately, and I heard them start singing together an old gospel hymn, that family facing death. Turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full into his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. I wanted to take the shoes off of my feet. The place I was standing then, was holy ground. I know there are many instances in your life as well. Think about those times when the divine broke into the everyday and made it holy. May your life be the same. Thank you for letting me share with you today.